Turkey has set its eyes on Russian air defense systems, and no amount of threats from the Pentagon will apparently change its mind. That much is clear after Turkey's foreign minister today shot back at the U.S., warning that if any sanctions are imposed on his government as a result of their deal with Russia, Turkey is ready to retaliate. What this growing crack in the foundation of the NATO alliance means now for the U.S. and foreign policy in the Middle East as a whole. Joining us to discuss, former Pentagon official Michael Maloof. All right, Mike, Turkey is saying they're going to retaliate with sanctions of their own if the White House acts on these threats, because we know the White House likes to make them. But how impactful could that really be? I mean, coming from Turkey, what can Turkey actually do to strike the U.S.?
Well, it won't be the end of the world for the U.S. They could provide a minor inconvenience. They could put tariffs on their own products incoming. They also could kick us out of Incirlik.
Okay, well, there's that.
Yeah, there is
One
that.
Strategic.
But we have alternatives to Incirlik. So
okay.
Even though it's the closest point to Syria, there are other ways of dealing with that, and I think the U.S. has found alternatives to Incirlik. So, but the problem is what does it do ultimately to the I mean, that's the direct impact it could have on the U.S. What does it mean to NATO? It could be the beginning and the end of NATO. This could be a severe crack if Turkey decides to implement all this and carry it out. Now, they have till the end of June, I think it is, to come to a final decision. Now, but can Turkey suspend the contract or pull out? What does it do for them politically with respect to vis-a-vis Russia? So Turkey has a lot of things to weigh. They basically painted themselves into this corner.
Turkey did.
Turkey did.
Well, I mean, is it so wrong of them to want to make a deal with Russia?
Well, they knew what the NATO rules were. You don't introduce outside systems from non-NATO countries into your defense system, and in this case, from an adversary.
Okay. So it's like a banned product.
Yeah, basically. It basically is. And we've seen this. NATO insists upon standardization of arms and what have you. It would be the only country. And secondly, it can also pick up the good and bad things about the F-35, because it would all be integrated. And the U.S. will not allow its integration of the S-400 into the NATO system that can tag F-35s and thereby provide valuable data on how to intercept.
Okay. So then real quickly, in terms of military strategy, you just mentioned that little aspect there, that it would learn the other way of how to intercept it. How big of an impact will it be in terms of NATO? Like you said, if this is the crumbling of it, the faltering of relations.
Well, it could be a chink, because NATO's already got its own problems. Its members can't pay its dues, and it will raise once again the question of how relevant is NATO. You don't see a Warsaw Pact.
No.
You still see a NATO. But,
okay.
And you're seeing countries such as Germany not even paying its share.
Right, and they're the richest in
they're the richest in Europe. So it's something to watch. What impact will all of this have on NATO if Turkey pulls out?
At the end of the day, we're likely to still make friends with Turkey and move on. It's just, friends have beef sometimes. But who we are not friends with, and I'd be remiss not to ask you while you're here, the turn of events last night with Mike Pompeo's statements on the boat sabotage, or the ship sabotage, I should say, in the Gulf of Oman. What do you make of this grainy footage?
Well, I'm bothered by it.
It's definitely wrong.
I'm bothered by it. All of a sudden, you get this grainy footage. I think we have a false flag setup going on here. And even though it was at night, there was no indication of confirmation of dates, timing, anything, nothing. Then the next question is, where did the pictures come from? And who was taking pictures? Also, you don't have any identification of the ship, of the vessels.
Right.
And also, I question whether that's even an IRGC boat that we're looking at, because everything is very mysterious. And all I can tell you is I remember the slam dunk intelligence we had on Iraqi WMD in 2003.
That's a good point. They said 100% Saddam Hussein.
Yes.
And then that took us into the war. And lastly, I want to point out that the Japanese owner of that ship, he had some interesting comments about what he thought struck his ship and what his guys said that they thought that they didn't think it was a mine. They felt like something was either dropped on them or shot at them. What do you think?
The owner said he thought it was bullets coming at him. That's one report that I saw. A limpet mine would make sense. That's just a little bomb with a magnet. You put it up against the side. They might have seen shrapnel from that explosion.
How would it get there?
I think it was probably placed there at the origin of the ships, namely UAE or Saudi Arabia, where the ships originated from. I think that this is a false flag operation to raise tensions in the region. And the fact that these were Japanese cargo-laden ships, the fact that, too, that
Shinzo Abe's there?
Abe was there. And now, unless there is a rogue operation underway here within the IRGC, because there is a split. Now, that's a possibility, but no one's talking about that.
So I guess we'll have to see.
I just wanted to leave it at that.
We will leave it at that. We'll pick your brain about it some more, I'm sure. There's going to be a lot more news over the weekend. I'm positive of that. Okay. Mike Maloof, thank you so much for your expertise.
Pleasure.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.